Hello YouTube, how is everyone doing? It's Professional here. Welcome back to my playthrough of Ace Attorney Investigations. I hope that you guys are enjoying the series. If you are, do drop a like. Let's continue from where we left off. Theatrum Neutralis Lobby. So now we know who the Yatagarazu really was. And yet there remains much to this case that needs to be resolved. Like how the weapons crossed country lines, for example. The two countries have incredibly strict security systems and entry procedures. Short of a miracle, it's impossible for someone to have smuggled them in. Smuggling them in, huh? We will need to open a new line of investigation on just this aspect alone. But before we do, I would like to go through my evidence once more. Unnecessary evidence has been removed. Remaining evidence has been rearranged.
Hey, there's a VCR here, sir. Now we can see what's on that tape Detective Bad gave us.
This piece of evidence from the KG8 incident, hidden from sight for 10 long years. I just know that this is related to the current case somehow. Detective Gumshoe, if you could please play the tape for us.
Sure thing, sir.
That's Manny Cochin. This man is Manny Cochin. And he's holding a knife in his hand. Wait, he is? Oh, he is. This looks like footage from a security camera at the entrance of an apartment building. An apartment building? How do you figure that? Unlike you, I actually read the summary file on the KG8 incident. And the crime scene was the victim's own apartment. So this footage was shot at the entrance to the victim's own apartment building. At the trial, Mr. Faraday claimed that this piece of footage existed. However, no one could find it. Yes, somehow someone was able to steal it and hide it through Mr. Ernest Amato. I can see how this would have been a definitive piece, and why someone would want to hide it.
But it's a piece of evidence from a 10-year-old case. There's no way it's related to the case we're working on now, sir.
Actually, I believe it has everything to do with the case we're working on now. The ringleader even went so far as to use Mr. Portsman to retrieve it. Which means that in this video lies a very inconvenient bit of footage to the ringleader.
Where?
Wait, what was that?
Huh?
That bit you played just now. Please show it to me again. This car, this is something we cannot overlook.
Why is that, sir?
Look here, Detective Gumshoe. That's Manny Cochin in the car. I can't see who's driving. I guess the flag, that's Cadopia's flag, right? Because this is from 7 years ago, so Babel and Alabas didn't exist as countries.
Take that!
This is the national flag of the Principality of Cadopia. And because it has a national flag on it, we know this to be an official government car. But the question we should be asking ourselves is, what was a government car doing there?
Oh, Miss Van Carver, Mr. Edgeworth. So you were here all this time?
Ambassador Alba.
Thank you very much for continuing the investigation, even at this time of night. Oh, if only I was even a tiny bit more careful. This tragedy would never have happened. I'm truly sorry.
This wasn't your fault, sir. This has nothing to do with how careful you were.
You idiot carcass! You couldn't chase after a simple thief. Now then, let's get down to the real reason why I came looking for the two of you. I would like you to put the investigation on hold for a while. Can you do that?
Excuse me?
I heard you apprehended the thief that turned this embassy upside down. And we are in the middle of an event celebrating our country's reconciliation. We can't exactly have the police and detectives walking around here forever. You're scaring the visitors away, so I hope that you can understand how I feel.
Ugh. But we must finish our investigation and resolve the remaining issues.
Why don't we leave the rest of the Alabastian and Babylese police?
No! They could be in on it. Ambassador, we are so close. Just a little more, and...
Miss Von Karma, I'm afraid I've made up my mind.
Okay, he could definitely be involved at this point. Just because he looks like an innocent old man doesn't make him an innocent old man. He could definitely be involved. One thing that Ace Attorney has taught me is that anybody can be a killer in Ace Attorney. Anybody.
And without my permission, you can proceed with your investigation anyway, right?
That's true, however, as he has said that at the very beginning, this area can be considered to be Alabastian soil. In which case, we are nothing but foreigners in their land. Is this really where investigation ends?
Chifu, we found Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Chifu, this way.
Yo. Agent Lang, you're back on the scene rather quickly. If I laid back and took a break, I'd lose the scent of my prey, Mr. Prosecutor.
Agent Lang, why have you returned?
Because I have to solve this case no matter what.
Well, I'm sorry to inform you. Don't take this the wrong way. I don't suspect you personally. However, a member of Interpol was just found to be a thief, and so... Under these circumstances, I wish to put your investigation on hold. After all, I believe our own police can handle things from here. They are quite capable.
At this rate, our investigation really will come to a close. Ambassador Alba, I get it now. I really do.
Oh, I'm very glad you understand how I feel.
No, not that. What I was talking about is... I know who the killer is behind tonight's murder. What? You... No? The killer? Oh, this should be good. Who's he gonna accuse?
Do you really mean that, Agent Lang?
What, is he gonna accuse Edgeworth now? Heh, wolves don't lie.
Then who is it?
Well, let me first say that I'm not talking about Mr. Cochin's murder. That was all shi-na. Lang Z says the truth lies not at the exit, but rather shines outside the maze itself. The truth's unexpectedly simple. So let me ask you this. Who do you think was the Mask 2's killer? I'll tell you who. It was you, Franziska von Kara... I was the killer? Hey, wait, but that's impossible.
Yeah! Although, that whip is actually quite...
Hold your tongue in that ludicrous remark you were about to make. Agent Lang, are you seriously accusing her of murder? Yeah, I am. He doesn't appear to be joking. Hey sis, I remember that just before Ambassador Alba went to give his speech. He called you into his office, right? Yes, he did. But what does that have to do with anything? I'm getting to that. Furthermore, in order to solve both cases, you moved around rather freely between Alabast and Babel, did you not?
Objection!
And where is your evidence that I am the killer? I was just getting to that. Trust me, I'll show them to you in due time. Ambassador Alba, in order for me to bring this case to a close, I'll need to inspect your office one more time. Will you grant me permission?
With things as they are, I suppose I don't have much of a choice, do I?
Good. Then let's move out. Oh, and don't even think about running away, sis. My pack will be keeping a close eye on you. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. As if I would have any reason to flee. You know, what I will say about this is karma right now. And it's ironic that our name is Karma, too. But this is pure karma. Because Franziska has accused so many innocent people of being murderers. She almost ruined so many people's lives. She almost falsely sent so many innocent people to prison. And Phoenix stopped her in the previous games. And so now that she's being accused of murder, I never thought I would see the day where Franziska would be falsely accused of murder. But this is actually karma right now. But just so we're clear, your logic had better be sound. She's definitely not the killer. I'm 100% positive on that. She's definitely not the killer. But it is honestly ironic. And I don't know if I feel bad for her being accused because she accused so many people, because I'll expect nothing short of a perfect explanation. She seems rather upset. Not that I blame her. I expected that you'd accept no less. But we'll see how long you can keep that nose of yours stuck up in the air like that.
Hold it!
Agent Lang, as someone related to the night's case, I request that you allow me to take part. And so that I may clear up my superior's mess. I guess I should. The more the merrier, especially when it's the peanut gallery. Oh, in that case, I want to join in too. I still haven't seen what it looks like in Alabast yet.
If you let Kay in, then you're gonna let me in too, pal. I can't sit around and do nothing when Miss Von Karma's in trouble.
Hey, Gummy, let's have a competition to see who can save her first, okay?
Okay, I'll take you up on that. Oh yeah, I'm fired up and raring to go.
As a detective, I don't believe this is something you're supposed to be excited over. Sounds like this is going to get real interesting. Ambassador Alba, I'll be bringing these kids along for the ride.
Very well. But I'd like you to keep in mind that this will be your last chance.
I'll have this whole mess cleared up, before you know it. Now let's go. March 15, 12:53 a.m. Alabastian Embassy. Ambassador's office. Okay, now let's go over facts one more time. Manny Cochin's body was found over in the Secretariat's office in Babel. The weapon that took his life was one of the Alabast ornamental knives. And then the body of the masked two, Mr. Kashinu. Does that mean anything? Because when you say their name, sometimes it's like a pun. Was found here in the Alabastian ambassador's office. During investigation, we found that the murder weapon was this Primidux statue. And that this is actually Babel's statue. This case, no matter how I look at it. Sis, if it wasn't you, then there's no one else who could have pulled this off.
Objection!
Agent Lang, do you understand the full implications of what you are saying? Of course I do, sis. And I'm serious. You were on the trail of the smuggling ring, and you wanted any evidence you could find. And so while people were distracted by the exotic Grasso's appearance, you snuck in here. That's when you two ran into each other. You and that other thief who took advantage of the confusion from the fire.
Objection!
Even if all that were true, how do you explain the movements of the weapons? Don't worry, I plan to show that you're the culprit behind that too. You had permission to investigate both embassies at will. With that kind of free reign, you could have easily taken the weapons across country lines. Hey now! He caught her whip! I can't believe it. Look, sis, I thought I already told you I'm not messing around here. This case isn't directly tied to the smuggling ring. But shi-na certainly is tied to the smuggling ring. He is right in saying that she is a member of the smuggling ring. However, the connection between this case and the ring, could it not be deeper than what any of us can imagine? Let's get this ridiculous circus over with already. Franziska, you need to calm down. Because you only know the facts of the Alabastian side of the case. I don't believe you can see the case as a whole, and therefore solve it. What? But don't worry, I am taking this seriously as well, and I will prove your innocence. That's the only way to be, Mr. Prosecutor. But can you come up with anything else that can top my hypothesis? Of course, your explanation has to solve the mystery of the moving weapons as well. Of course, and I will. Let's now delve into the truth behind the murder of the Masked Two. You do understand, don't you, Miles Edgeworth? This isn't just a confrontation against Agent Lang. If you can't figure out how the murder of the Masked Two is related to the smuggling ring, then it will mean the end of our investigation. As long as I have no good counter-argument to his hypothesis, then the best I can do is walk this thin tightrope and see what I can do. Come on, Mr. Prosecutor, let's get started. Yes, let's. Border-crossing weapons. One of Alabast's knives was used in Babel to murder Mr. Cochin, and the murder weapon in the killing of the Masked Two is Babel's Primidux statue. Somehow these two objects were able to penetrate the two countries' impenetrable security. The only one who traversed the two countries just before and after the crimes was you. So long as I can explain how the weapons moved about, Franziska will remain a suspect. You got it, Mr. Prosecutor, so why don't you stop giving me a hard time? Under these circumstances, who the heck can carry a weapon across country lines? I've worked through every possibility, but there's only one that's plausible. Your boss. Agent Lang, what I've learned from you just now is that you're lost sight of yourself. What are you talking about? By focusing too intently on that which is in front of us, we become blind to the truth. Don't tell me Lang Z never said anything to that effect. You prosecutor! Who do you think you are speaking about Lang Z's proverbs like that? I don't need his proverbs. Because my words are all you will need to see the truth. Border-crossing weapons. One of Alabast's knives used in Babel to murder Mr. Cochin.
Hold it!
I concur that this knife crossed over country lines. Good, but that's not the only thing that did. We mustn't forget about the other weapon. The knife was only one. And the murder weapon in the killing of the Masked Two is Babel's Primidux statue.
Hold it!
So you're saying that the Primidux statue was also brought over by Franziska? Like I told you before, that's the only way it makes sense.
Hold it!
And how exactly did she bring it over? I haven't figured it out yet. That's a rather weak statement considering how sure you are. Maybe, but there's one thing I do know for sure. Somehow these two objects were able to penetrate the two countries' impenetrable security.
Hold it!
Impenetrable? I should hardly think so.
Not the best!
You've seen the top of the wall between the two countries, right? Who in the world would cross over that? Yeah, not even I could climb over that thing with all that barbed wire. The only way into either embassy is through the doors in the Theatrum Neutralis. So the only way for the knife and the Primadex statue to traverse the two countries is through those security camera-equipped, well-guarded doors. The only one who traversed the two countries is before, and after the crimes was you.
Hold it!
Was Franziska really the only person to have traveled between the two countries? According to guards at both doors, she's the only one to go back and forth. The sis there was in Alabas when the Yadagarazu showed. And then just before you guys found Mr. Kochin's body, she entered Babel. I think we can assume that's when she brought the knife into Babel.
Objection!
Then how do you explain the Primadex statue? I haven't quite figured that out yet. However, the fact that the two weapons crossed the border proves that the killer must have also traveled across the country lines. The only things to cross the border are the Primadex statue and the knife. I should hardly think that those are the only two items, Agent Lang. Okay, so wasn't pressing a statement here. One of Alabast's knives was used in Babel to murder Mr. Kochin. The murder weapon in the killing of the Mask 2 is Babel's Primadex statue. Somehow these two objects were used to penetrate the two countries' impenetrable security. The only things that cross the border are Primadex statue and the knife. I should hardly think that those are the only two items, Agent Lang. If you get to the end, usually you have like a small little hint. The only things to cross the border are the Primadex statue and the knife. I should hardly think that those are the only two items, Agent Lang. I have a theory. What if the statue and the weapons were smuggled in through the Steel Samurai baby carriage? So remember how Larry had like the Steel Samurai baby? What if that was swapped out for the statue? Because Larry said that he lost the baby carriage. So what if the killer knew, because they knew the Steel Samurai was going between the two embassies? They used that. That's how they could have gotten everything through. Somehow these two objects were able to penetrate the two countries' impenetrable security. The only one to traverse the two countries before and after the crimes was you. The only thing to cross the border, the Primadex statue and the knife. I should hardly think that those are the only two items, Agent Lang. Wait. Two objects. Alabasts.
Objection!
Agent Lang, those two items are not the only two to cross the border tonight. Oh? The Mask 2 was killed when Babel's Primadex statue, yes. But if that's the case, then tell me, where did Alabast's Primadex statue go? To Babel. Precisely. And if the two statues really were switched, then this means that both statues were smuggled across the border at some point. Which means that a total of 3 items was smuggled across the embassies. I guess so, but you know what? It doesn't matter the number of items, only that the sis is the one who could have done it. Because the only person who went back and forth between Alabast and Babel is her. Is that really true? Was there no one else who could have traveled between the two countries? Larry, the Steel Samurai. Actually, there was definitely another person. One who paid a visit to both sides of the wall.
Objection!
Is that really so, Agent Lang? What a lousy time to try and bluff your way out of this. I checked out what the guard said along with the security cameras footage. You're not going to overturn my hypothesis that easily.
Objection!
But suppose there was some other way other than through the theater doors. What other way? The other entity that managed to cross the border unharmed. You know, I pointed out it would open up a whole new possibility. And though I hesitate to bring this out, as long as this entity exists, the impossible road becomes a possibility. It looks like you've got some clever idea in mind. I do, and I can show it to you through a single piece of evidence. Fine then. Let's see this piece of evidence that will show me this other route. This piece of evidence will show us another way to move between the two countries. Photo taken after the first fire on the 4th and 5th floors had taken place. The photo of the Yatagarazu. Flying, but... Is this it?
Take that!
Oh, it is. Agent Lang, I'm sure you're familiar with this unforgettable photo. That supernatural photo, like I said before. Humans can't fly. No, of course not. I understand that perfectly well. And don't start claiming that shi-na somehow grew wings either. I wouldn't dream of claiming that. And I won't allow you to take back what you said either. I'll say it again. It's not humanly possible to fly through the air without wings. So you better have a good explanation for this, Mr. Prosecutor. But how can I prove who it was that flew through the air in this photo? Wait, not humanly possible. Eureka! Very well. You will have your explanation. It sounds like you have a good idea simmering inside that head of yours. Let's hear it. The face hidden within this photo's blurry trail shadow is... not humanly possible. Photos taken after the 4th and 5th floors had taken place. After the first fire on the 4th and 5th floors had taken place. The Babel statue?
Take that!
This is the face behind the shadow.
Not so fast!
I thought I said that you better have a good explanation. I can't make heads or tails of what you're trying to say with that. What was I wrong? No, it's the Alba statue. The man-shaped statue that flew through the air wrapped in the darkness of the night. Its real shape can only be this one thing. Let's hear it. The face hidden within this photo's blurry trail shadow, it's the Alba statue.
Take that!
Naturally, the shadow is the third smuggled object, the primitive statue replica. You can't be serious. The Yatagarazu, or rather Callisto Yu dressed as ancient shi-na, was inside Babel. Babel's primitive statue. Oh, so it's the notepad is describing the ones that have been switched out, not the ones that are actually in there. So the Babel one is the real one in here, and the Alabas one is the fake one. But it's the notepad is writing the ones that are currently right there, right now. The switch. She dressed the replica statue up in clothes and launched it through the air.
Not so fast!
Mr. Prosecutor, you left out a very crucial bit in your explanation. I know I did. She launched it through the air. Ha! And how exactly did she do that? He is literally baring his fangs at me. But he has a point. How exactly did it move through the air like that? As long as this remains unsolved, we won't be able to move any closer to the truth. Which reminds me, didn't he say this earlier? Hey sis, I remembered that just before the Ambassador Alba went to give his speech. He called you to his office, right? So just before the murder, Franziska was called here right into this very room. If that's the case, then that may be another avenue I could pursue. Agent Lang, in order for me to answer that question, I will need to hear her testimony from Miss Von Karma. Oh, what are you up to now, pretty boy? Earlier you mentioned something of interest to me. You said that just before the murder occurred, Miss Von Karma had been in this room because Ambassador Alba had called for her. And for that reason alone, you believe her to be the killer. Yeah, I guess I did say something like that. In that case, I believe it is my duty to ask her what her side of the story is. Ha! Do you really think a criminal would tell us the honest truth? How dare you! As I've said numerous times, there's absolutely no proof that I'm the killer. Miles Edgeworth, don't tell me you suspect me too. Yeah, and I will say to you this is, Franziska really owes Edgeworth. She really does at this point. And she accused him of being her own brother, her stepbrother, of being the killer on the plane. And now Edgeworth is saving her, so she really owes him for this. I don't. However, I can't ignore the fact that you were in this room at one point in time, which is why I would like to hear about it from you. Franziska, I feel I still don't have enough information, which is why your testimony is incredibly important to the outcome of this case. Alright. So what would you like me to talk about? I'd like you to please testify to your movements up until you came into this room. Alright, let's try this your way for a change. But if what she has to say turns out to be a waste of time, I'll place her under arrest faster than you can howl no! As you wish. Okay, let's see. What's Franziska's testimony? Movements in Alabas. As I said earlier, I was assigned to guard duty in the Alabastian embassy. After I saw the Steel Samurai off on his way towards the ambassador's office, I returned to the Rose Garden for a bit and checked up on the security situation. After all the preparations were in place, I was called back by Ambassador Alba to his office. Franziska, I want us to make this clear from the very beginning. So what I wish to confirm is that the only time span in which you were in this office was before the murder occurred. Is that correct? Yes, of course. I see. For now, the only way that I can see for us to break out of this situation is to ask Franziska about her testimony in more detail. Movements in Alabast. As I said earlier, I was assigned to guard duty in the Alabastian embassy.
Hold it!
I thought your duty was to find anything you could about the smuggling ring. Yes, that was my job. But upon hearing that the Yatagarasu had sent a calling card to the embassy, Ambassador Alba called upon us to protect the embassy instead. That incident 7 years ago. Or have you forgotten what happened here back then? Anything related to that case we were involved in appears to be rather painful for her. It's not exactly one I can readily forget myself. It looks like you remember the case after all. Of course I do. I inspected every location, every possible escape route, and every aspect of the police's security detail. I did all that, and after that. After I saw the Steel Samurai off on his way towards the ambassador's office. I think this is important. Like I said, I think that the baby carriage that the Steel Samurai had, I think that could have smuggled something in there. And I think Larry's such an idiot that the killer could have actually put something in there without him noticing.
Hold it!
So you were at the theater as well? Yes, and I suppose you were also there as well, watching that stage show. Well, yes, so Franziska was there. Well, after the show was over, I saw the Steel Samurai off. I returned to the Rose Garden for a bit and checked up on the security situation.
Hold it!
Why did you need to confirm the degree of preparation for even the speech? For security's sake, of course. What other reason could I have had? No one knew just how the Yatagarasu would plan on getting in, right? Yes, I suppose you're right. And in the end, the Yatagarasu did choose to appear in the Rose Garden. Even if it did turn out to be nothing more than a shadow. Who would have thought that she would use a shadow? Calm down, Franziska. She must still be nursing a grudge over the fact that she couldn't figure it out herself. Anyway, there was no one in the Rose Garden. And we were aware that the speech was set to start soon thereafter. After all the preparations were in place, I was called back by Ambassador Alba to his office.
Hold it!
At that time, the masked two's body had yet to be found in this room, is that correct? That's right. But Ambassador Alba was here. One could hardly miss his rather large presence. criminal will say anything to get out of getting arrested. How do we know you're not lying? Well, if you need proof, I'd be happy to oblige you. Seriously? Like I keep telling you. When I arrived at this office, Ambassador Alba was already here. He was standing by the flower box in the windowsill watering his plants.
Ah, I can attest to that. I remember speaking with the lovely lady around that time here in my office.
Alright then. Add that statement to your testimony, and let's hear some details. So Ambassador Alba was in this room at this time, was he? When I arrived, Ambassador Alba was watering the flowers in the windowsill. Wait! Flowers. Flowers. Passion flowers. 2 large flowers in bloom. The vines are supported by the stakes and are still growing.
Objection!
This piece of evidence perfectly exposes the flaw in your logic. One of the flowers is missing. This has to be it. Oh? Well then why don't you show me how it does just that?
Oh, I bet it's this part, right? This conflicts with something, right, sir?
You have no idea what you're talking about, do you? Detective Gumshoe, don't speak up when you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I was just trying to follow your lead, sir.
That you would allow a subordinate to take over. You're a disgrace. I guess that wasn't it.
Hold it!
For the sake of being thorough, I'd like to ask you something. How did you know that Ambassador Alba was watering his plants at the windowsill? What do you mean by that? The entrance to this room is on this side, however the window is on the opposite side. If what you say is true, then when you entered the room, his body would have been like a wall. He would have been blocking your view of what he was doing. Isn't that not correct? I suppose it was a bit hard to see around him. But fortunately for me, Ambassador Alba is not an immovable wall. I knocked before I entered, and as I did, he turned around to greet me, with a watering can in his hand. So it's only natural to believe that he was watering his plants, right? I suppose. After his greeting, we spent a little time talking about his flowers. He had obtained them himself and is growing them with the utmost care, you know?
Yes. The plants in this room, they are all like my children.
The passion flowers in this flower box on the windowsill are still growing beautifully too. All 4 of them are in full bloom. Miss Von Karma, what did you say just now? All 4 of them are in full bloom. I thought there was 1 missing, but there's actually 2. Yeah, there's 2 holes. But what does that mean? Why is that important? I said that the flowers are growing beautifully. What about that statement do you not understand? What do I not understand? I do not understand why a certain thing is the way it is. I'd like for you to append that statement to your testimony. Very well. There were 4 large passion flowers in the bloom in full bloom in the flower box. This is definitely it now.
Objection!
Franziska, for some odd reason, your testimony contradicts with this piece of evidence. It does appear that way. Heh, I knew it. I knew we couldn't trust your word, sis. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you doing discrediting Miss Von Karma like this?
Yes, sir. If you keep this up, she's gonna get taken away, sir. Eek.
All I've done is state what I saw. I've not made a single mistake in my testimony. And for this, I'm still under suspicion for murder. Is the number of flowers really all that important at this juncture, Miles? At the very least, it is a contradiction in this enigmatic case. One that I find hard to dismiss as irrelevant. Ha, then let's hear it, Mr. Prosecutor. What does the number of flowers have to do with anything? What does it prove? I believe the answer to that will become clear if we were to examine the flower box. How did this contradiction come about? There must be something behind this discrepancy.
They're my beloved flowers. I've grown them with the utmost care. So I ask that you please be gentle with them as you examine them, Mr. Edgeworth.
I understand. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Yeah, there's 2 holes. This patch of soil looks as though it has something removed from it. What are you doing, Mr. Prosecutor? Why'd you climb up all of a sudden? I'm still here, waiting for an explanation, you know. Did you know, Agent Lang, flowers are best appreciated in silence? Yes. It looks like the two things were pulled out of this flower box. The name of these flowers, I believe they're called passion flowers. Despite being called flowers, they are actually a species of vine. They appear to be growing well, and are well supported by these plant supports. Yeah, but no matter how I look at it, it looks like there are only two, here to me. You realize, don't you, sis? Your little lie has failed you. Miles Edgeworth! Hurry up and shut this man out for me already. I suppose I will need to use some evidence to shut him up, won't I? I believe I have just the piece of evidence you require. I clicked X too quickly. Oh, you do you? Wait a second. You have such confidence in your face of your current plight. But I highly doubt it'll last till later. Stop blocking the flowers! You'll howl like a wolf, Agent Lang. Wait a... Hair sticks with a candy stripe pattern. They appear to have dirt on the tips. This. Hey, take a look at this, Mr. Edgeworth. There's dirt on here. It's totally, ruining the beauty of the hair stick, I suppose. Why is there dirt stuck on the end of a hair stick in the first place? The design of these things are rather eccentric for hair sticks. Huh? Really? Well, if they're that strange, what should I do with them? I have to say, these are by far the most bizarre hair sticks I've ever seen. In any case, Kay, there's something I've been meaning to ask. How exactly do you stick that hair stick of yours in your hair like that? That's a secret. Curiouser and curiouser. They're not hair sticks, they were used for the plants. But we'll see if you have any bite to back that up that bark after you see the evidence. The truth that the passion flowers reveal can be seen in this piece of evidence. The hair sticks.
Take that!
Shi-na, who was supposedly in Babel the entire time, had these hair sticks on her. That look exactly like the plant supports in this flower box. In other words, I believe it can be said that these hair sticks are in actuality support sticks for passion flowers. And so what? Is this really all that important to the case? Of course it is. It means that we found yet another item that was smuggled between the countries tonight. Yeah! Think about it logically, Agent Lang. These sticks were originally in Alabast, but somehow they wound up in shi-na's hands, who was in Babel the whole night. So make no mistake, these sticks were smuggled somehow just like the knife and statue. Very well then. I want to hear from you exactly how they wound up in Babel. How did these support sticks find their way to Babel, and why? There must be some reason as to why they ended up there. Ah, so that's why. Agent Lang, if you please take a look at this and tell me its shape. It's just another stick, isn't it? And so it is, but the shape of the support sticks is what's important. For when they are used with something in this room, that's when it all comes into focus. And the object that completes a picture when used with the support sticks is... the crossbow? Could it... Oh, I can't look at the evidence. Could the crossbow actually fire it? I hope that I'm not wrong on this. Get it perfect on it. That's a crossbow. Wait, you're not really suggesting. I am. These hair sticks, or rather plant support sticks. They make for perfect arrows, while crossbows fire bolts, but... Yeah! I've done it! I found the common thread that connects the two offices. But this thread has yet to be completely untangled. Even using the arrows, how does this explain how the statues were transported? Furthermore, who could it have been who fired these sticks as arrows? There must be a common thread that ties all of these things together. Mr. Prosecutor, hold up a second. You do realize what happens when you tie a statue to an arrow, right? They don't fly at all! Border Crossing Part 2. So Babel's statue was draped in the Yatagarazu's clothes and then shot over here? Even if you fired the arrows from the side, they wouldn't go far with a statue tied to them. I don't think I need to tell you that the primitive statues didn't sprout wings. You're a realist after all, aren't you? The primitive statues didn't sprout wings. Of course they didn't. Glad you understand. I feel much better already. I was afraid for a second that you were unaware of that crucial fact. It's only crucial because you're under the belief that wings are necessary to this equation. What? You need to free your mind a bit more and let it fly like a bird on the wind. The primitive statues flew, but not on a wing. Allow me a bit of your time, and I'll explain this mysterious phenomenon to you. Babel's statue was draped in the Yatagarazu's clothes and then shot over here?
Hold it!
But that incredible scene just happened to have been caught on film, resulting in this photo. And what an incredible scene it was. This photo was taken by a freelance photojournalist, right? Yes, so I hear. And not every photojournalist is known to be honest, right? Especially not the ones that sell photos of spirits and giant creatures to tabloids. Yes, I know what you mean. I've seen these sorts of photos many a time in court. But there have been times when those photos have turned out to be telling the truth. If you had ever stood in court of law, you would know that it's entirely plausible. Heh, you really believe that stuff you're spewing right now. A courtroom certainly is a strange place if what you say is true. But there really is something odd about that photo no matter how you look at it. Even if you fire the arrows from this side, they wouldn't go far with a statue tied to them.
Hold it!
But we are in agreement that an arrow by itself would reach the other side, correct? But just the arrow by itself is pretty meaningless, don't you think, Mr. Prosecutor? Because the things they wanted to smuggle were a lot bigger than nothing! Not that that's necessarily true. What? What I need right now is not further discussion of my conclusions, it's the launching of my conclusions. What the shooter wanted to launch with the crossbow is not the statues themselves. Or rather, something a crossbow can launch that can be used to move the statues. If it wasn't a statue that was tied to the arrows, then what did the crossbow launch? A good length of wire that was found wound up inside Babel's grandfather clock. This, I remember when I showed shi-na this, shi-na was panicking when I showed her this wire. It has something to do with this. The crossbow fired the bolt across to the other window with the wire, and then the statue was moved on the wire. That's the trick. That's how it was moved between the embassies, moved through the wire through the windows.
Objection!
Finally, we have reached this point in our discussion. For I present to you that which was carried by the arrow from the crossbow. Heh, I get it now, Mr. Prosecutor. I can see exactly what you were trying to say. You're saying that the wire was tied to an arrow and then shot into Mr. Cochin's office. All the way from the 5th floor of the Alabastian Embassy down to the 3rd floor of the Babelese Embassy. If what you're claiming is really what happened, I can see how Alba's primitive statue could be moved. Gravity could be used to move the statue down the wire from the 5th to the 3rd floor. But then, what about Babel's primitive statue? The dark statue in this photo is clearly flying away from Babel. Going in the opposite way of gravity, from the 3rd floor of the Babelese Embassy, up to the 5th floor of the Alabastian Embassy. How do you explain that? I think I finally see how the gears behind this whole trick work. Agent Lang, the motion used behind this trick. I wonder if perhaps you have yet to envision how it works in your head. Motion? What motion? This is the motion that was employed to smuggle Babel's primitive statue. It's definitely not a bungee motion, because a bungee motion you would jump down and then it would pull you back up. So it's not bungee. Swinging? The wire was in the clock. And it was a grandfather clock as a swinging chime. What if the wire was tied to the gears in the clock? That's why the that's why the clock wasn't working. The wires were tied to the gear. That's possible. It's either rotary or swinging. It's definitely not motion. Let's try rotary. I believe it was done via rotary motion. If the two statues were transported simultaneously. Simultaneously? Get real. The statues would collide somewhere along the way.
Objection!
Did I ever say that there was only one line of wire between the two offices? If you shot an arrow with the two ends of a wire tied to it, a circular blade belt can be formed. Oh, so we see that. That's how the trick is done.
Not so fast!
Lang Z says, don't object and call a success what is beyond reasonability. Taking into account tension differences between the two wires. The top one would sag too much to the point where the statues would collide anyway.
Objection!
Agent Lang, as you know, the Primitive statue is one-of-a-kind national treasure, and the fact that Babel's statue is a hollow replica of the real statue, it would naturally be lighter than the real one, meaning that my idea is very possible. Lang Z says, how? Yeah, that is true, because one of the statues is fake and it's hollow, so it's not going to be as heavy. So yes, you could move both across. Here's what I believe happened. Miss Yu and her mystery co-conspirators set themselves up in two different rooms. The co-conspirator bridged the rooms by shooting the two ends of the wire down on one arrow. Then the two of them covered the statues and proceeded to transport the statues. After the switch was completed, another arrow was fired, carrying the other end of the wire down to Babel, where it was to be disposed of. And to do that, Miss Yu had hid it inside the grandfather clock, QED. Ha 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 ha! This proves it, right, Agent Lang? That I'm not the killer. Not yet, sis. I still haven't had my dessert yet. Right, Mr. Prosecutor. The proof is in the pudding, as it were. Pudding is a nice dessert. So, do you think you can do it? Can you prove that what you said is what happened? Because remember, if you can't, I'll be taking a certain someone back home with me as a souvenir. I agree that as long as there is no proof, my hypothesis remains a stat. However, what I have laid out is no mere hypothesis. For this one, there is one more piece of evidence. One more. This should be interesting. You think you have a piece of evidence that will turn your hypothesis into fact? Well, then let's see it, Mr. Prosecutor. The thing that made it possible to create a circular belt out of a length of wire. I believe that it is right here in this very room. Now then, I believe this is what made the circular belt transportation method possible. It's the fan! The fan! Yeah, rotary. It's the fan. It was tied to the fan and the fans were spinning.
Take that!
Looks like you dropped their bomb on us again. The last piece to the trick. Are two pulleys. Precisely. The ceiling fans double as pulleys in this case. And thanks to the fact that there is one installed in each of the offices. The ceiling fans made for the perfect pulley set for the wire to run on. Ah! I love when that music kicks in. This must be it. This is how the smugglers bypass the impenetrable security. Ha 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 ha! You really are something else, Mr. Prosecutor. I bet you figured it all out already, haven't you? You know who the big hotshot that set up this real-life stage show is, don't you? The person who set up this rather large and complex stage show. Needs to be someone who had foreknowledge of the existence of a ceiling fan in both the Alabastian and Babelese offices. And that passion flower support stakes could be used as arrows. The real mastermind behind this case... Well, don't you dare make this wolf wait for his food. Why are you so hesitant, Miles Edgeworth? If you can't say who it is, why don't you present something like you always do? Single point of the finger here, and this case will explode into an international incident. International incident? It's Ambassador Alba. Ambassador Polano is not allowed in here. This is the Alabastian embassy. Ambassador Alba can be the only other one. Remember what I said earlier, that just because he looks like an innocent old man does not mean that he's an innocent old man. However, it's already too late for me to stop the forward momentum. it appears that I have no choice now but to rush in. There's a piece of evidence that will point us to who the mysterious mastermind is. The card? Evidence from KGA containing orders of smuggling ring. Neither hair sticks nor support sticks. They're actually crossbow arrows. Wait, so they were never, because here's the thing, if you can fit something like a bolt, you can fire it from a crossbow. But they aren't actual, support sticks, they're crossbow bolts. Which means that when Ambassador Alba planted it, he must have known that they were crossbow bolts. Okay, but which one do I use? Do I use this one or the flowers? I'm gonna go with the flowers, hopefully. If it's not the flowers, it's the bolts.
Take that!
This smuggling could not have been possible without the use of the crossbow. Furthermore, the arrows that were shot by the crossbow were plucked, as it were, from the flower box in this very room. They were planted so long ago that the passion flowers time to grow so big that Miss Von Karma didn't even notice the arrows when she visited this room today. On top of all this, the fact that the culprit knew that both offices had ceiling fans tells us this person had very detailed information on the embassy's layout. So as you may have already guessed, the person I'm accusing of hatching this plan is the person who grew the flowers in the flower box with the utmost care. Thus, it can only be you, Kirkus Alba. Are you out of your mind, Miles Edgeworth? Yeah. He's gonna cause an international incident by doing this, accusing an ambassador of murder, and also accusing the ambassador of smuggling the stuff with the crossbow. But at the same time, everything points to him. I'm certain of what I am saying, and I'm sure that he is the culprit. Tell me, Mr. Prosecutor, what was the ambassador trying to accomplish by doing all that stuff you just outlined? Why in the world would he need to use a trick like that? I understand your need to doubt me. However, there is one thing that stands out to me as very odd. Just one thing, huh? The one single end result Ambassador Alba sought to obtain. If we were to examine the focus of this complex trick, I believe we will finally find the answer to everything. Everything will become clear once we examine this piece of evidence. I'm just gonna make sure it's the right statue here. It used to be real, but has been swapped with a fake from Babel, was used as a weapon. I think it's this. If I'm wrong on this, I'm gonna be really pissed. If I'm wrong on this, I'm gonna be pissed. But the reason I think it's the alabaster Permaduk statue is because something's not right here. Wouldn't it be the other way around? That wouldn't he be trying to, if he has the real statue, the real one, why is he smuggling a fake to replace the real one and giving the real one to Babel? Why does he want this one? Maybe Babel's statue is the real statue. Maybe that's the twist.
Take that!
I would fully understand the reasoning had the situation been the reverse. However, to go through the trouble of swapping the real Permaduk statue for the fake, I sense a very shady reason for such a bizarre action. And who better to ask for that reason than King Permaduk himself? I see. Ambassador, we'll be examining that statue now, with or without your permission. With his sword drawn like that, there is an aura of valor and bravery on King Permaduk's. He looks so cool standing like that with the sword stuck in the ground in front of him. Maybe I should try and come up with some cool pose with a shuriken or something. I'm seriously beginning to think that her real goal in life is to become a ninja. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, there isn't anything particularly odd about the sword, right? No, not really. I suppose we should be examine a different area of the statue now. shield, huh? There doesn't seem to be anything unusual about it. I bet it's supposed to mean that the guy is protecting something. I don't think it's supposed to have that deep of a meaning behind it. In that case, what are we wasting this time with this for? Let's look at some other area. These are Mr. Cochin's fingerprints. The fact that they're on here suggests that this statue once belonged to Babel. So, it was smuggled from Babel to Alabast, huh? Why was there a need for them to smuggle it in? This guy kind of looks like the Steel Samurai, don't you think? Maybe it's because they look alike, that he was picked to be a goodwill ambassador. I suppose that's possible. Take a look at this area around the base of his neck. It looks like a gap. Hey, you're right. Maybe it's meant to be some kind of secret. Perhaps it's possible to open the statue from the gap in its construction. What? Hurry up and open it, Miles. Alright, here goes. Is that what I think it is? Really? I actually know what that is. That's counterfeit plates. Basically how counterfeit plates work is criminal organizations put them in a machine. And what they do is they print the money. So what a plate is basically is it's a frame of the fake currency. And it basically shows how the currency is made. And once you put the plate in the machine knows exactly how to print the currency, how to make the currency. That's what Tommy Vercetti was stealing in GTA Vice City when he ambushed the counterfeit syndicate. Hey, what's this thing that fell out? I believe a more thorough examination of it is required. What in the... is this... Hey! Is this what I think it is? It's a plate! For making counterfeit bills! Somehow, it appears that we've at long last arrived. At the exit to this complex labyrinth. We finally hold within our hands one of the counterfeit money plates. And the reason why the replica was smuggled into Alabasta to begin with. This was found from within the fake Primitive statue Alba smuggled into his country. The Primitive statue can only be handled by the ambassador or the secretariat. And the replica is nothing more than a hollow shell covered in gold. These two circumstances make the statue the ideal object in which to hide contraband. That's genius, because only the ambassador can touch it, that you can hide something in it. After receiving the statue containing the counterfeit plate from shi-na, the ambassador had the misfortune of accidentally running into Damask II. Surprised by the thief, the ambassador raised the replica statue of Damask II and... Then in order to frame the Steel Samurai of the murder, he covered the Steel Samurai sword in blood. Well, Ambassador Alba? He's got some explaining to do. You're the leader of the smuggling ring? My country's a mess. And it's all because of you? You're the one who killed the mask too? Answer us.
I never thought that you would figure things out to this level. However, there is one point I disagree with you on. The head of the smuggling ring was... Mr. Cochin.
Quit screwing around. I have no sympathy for someone who would try to pass the guilt onto a dead man. If there's one thing I'm sure of, it's that you're the ringleader, Kirkus Alba.
It's not good to speak with such subjectivity, you know, Agent Lang.
Subjectivity. My conclusion is anything but, and is the result of logic and investigation.
Logic and investigation? Only seconds ago, you were ready to arrest Miss Von Karma.
Yeah, he's ready, he's right on that.
I don't think we can give such a flip-floppy logic any real weight, do you?
Heh. It looks like you still don't get why I came back.
Excuse me?
You see, the reason I came back is so I can sink my fangs in your wrinkly old neck. From the very beginning, my real target has been you.
What?
Agent Lang, I demand an explanation. Sorry, sis. I didn't mean to put you through all that. I knew you were innocent from the very beginning. You did? I knew that this whole incident had been meticulously planned and prepared for. So naturally, the occupant in this room, Ambassador Alba, seems the most suspicious. But without the Ambassador's permission, we couldn't get into to take another look around. Oh, I get it. And the Ambassador thought that he would accuse Karma of it, and then Karma would get arrested, and then all the suspicion would be taken off of him. That's why he gave them permission to search the room. That was genius. So Agent Lang, shi-na called Agent Lang an idiot, but Agent Lang is not as stupid as she thought he was. So that's why you put on this big show to accuse Franziska of the murder. Using Franziska as the bait, you were able to gain us entry and investigative rights. How ironic is that he acts like a wolf, but he used Franziska as bait, basically, to lure out the Ambassador. How ironic. Yeah, if it hadn't been done that, I doubt the Ambassador would have given us the okay to poke around. So that's what all this was about. Very well, I will forgive you. But in exchange for using me as bait, you will take some responsibility and help us find the truth. Agent Lang, for giving me such a great opening, I thank you. You know, I just knew, Mr. Prosecutor, that somehow, if we were able to find some proof by investigating this room, that you would be able to figure out the real culprit with your special brand of logic. Heh, the evidence detectives collect combined with the logic of the prosecutor. That's just as it should be in a prosecutor-detective team, right? I don't know about all that. One thing I do know is that I'm itching to see that old man get what's coming to him.
Ho ho, you're quite scary when you want to be, aren't you?
Hey, you were the one who was planning to use me to push all the guilt onto the sis. But unfortunately for you, you misjudged me.
Agent Lang, I wish for you to stop trying to intimidate me. What we need right now is evidence and proof. I wonder if you have what is necessary to prove that I am the head of the smuggling ring.
Objection!
Don't be such a sore loser. If you really are the head of the smuggling ring, then you should acknowledge your crimes with dignity.
Dignity? That is nothing more than a fool's insincere display of strength. If you really wish for me to acknowledge my crimes, then I would like to see some of this thing you call evidence. I tell you, I knew nothing, really. I didn't even know that a counterfeit plate was hidden inside that statue.
Objection!
You swapped a real statue that vested in your country, the authority to rule for a fake. It doesn't make any sense that you didn't know anything.
It doesn't make sense. Where doesn't it make sense? Can you prove that it doesn't make sense?
He's really got us. He's turned the entire situation around against us. The proof that Interpol has been after which points to this man as the ringleader. If we can somehow find proof now, then we can see where the justice is finally served. Is there nothing I can use to break this case wide open? The trump card and the videotape. With those two items, we might be able to finally bring this man down. But the card is evidence from a case that Mr. Faraday hid away in secret. And the tape was stolen by Detective Bad from the police. They're both illegal evidence. No matter what, a protector of the law can't be allowed to use such pieces of evidence. Oh, so I see, a lot of times the Ace Attorney games are trying to teach you a moral lesson, and the moral lesson that they're trying to teach you is, should you use illegally obtained evidence to bust a criminal? Because that's what the Yatagarazu was. The Yatagarazu was a vigilante, vigilante group that basically went against the law to bust, more dangerous criminals. So, the moral is, should you use illegally obtained evidence to bust a criminal? Is that right? But let me know in the comments, guys. What do you think? Do you think it's justified to use illegally obtained evidence to bust a more dangerous criminal? Why or why not? Or do you think that it stoops to the level of the criminal?
Needless to say, we Von Karmas are committed to achieve nothing but victory, and by that any means necessary. The only way to bring someone like that to justice was to do so outside of the courts. That's what we fought at the time. I no longer follow the path of Manfred von Karma.
And I won't follow the path of the Yatagarasu. This leaves me with what? What creed will I believe in? If I want to pursue the truth, then I will sully my hands in illegality. And if I want to pursue justice, then I will lose the truth. What is the law and what is justice? And which path is a prosecutor supposed to follow? That choice is one I must make by my own hand here and now. I'm gonna save here. I'm gonna say don't use the trump card. I'm a prosecutor, and I can't allow myself to use evidence such as these. Mr. Edgeworth, if you don't do something, Master Alba is gonna get away with it. I know, but...
Objection!
What are you holding back for? The only thing a Von Karma should pursue is the perfect proof. If you really do have what it takes to complete our argument, then there's absolutely no reason not to use it.
Not so fast!
Lang Zi says, the reason people judge people is because people are people. People weren't born to be chained to the law. Laws were born to protect the people. You're the only one here right now who can put this guy out to pasture. And that is the only way a second or a third generation of Zhengfa's people will be born. Can you really still hesitate knowing the fate of a nation rests in your hands? There is no limit to the law. Any limit that exists was set there by man. When a person goes beyond that limit, then the law too crosses into new territory. For what reason were laws invented? The answer to that is what I must now show. Master Alba, I wonder if you might recognize this.
Oh, I wonder what that card is. I've never seen that before in my life.
That is, that card right there, that's, again, the boss's card, the Smuggling Ring Boss. It's a directives card used by the leader of the ring to relay instructions to his subordinates.
Oh, is that what it is?
This card was sent to the real culprit behind the KG-8 incident 10 years ago. A man by the name of Mr. Manny Cochin.
Oh, so why do you have such a card in your possession?
Because it was hand-delivered to me by a certain great thief, the Yatagarasu.
The Yatagarasu gave that to you. Don't talk nonsense, and let's be serious, Mr. Edgeworth. Do you have any proof that the card contains directions from the ringleader?
I'll have you know that the card is not the only thing I was given.
What?
This contains security footage that was shot just before the start of the KG-8 incident.
The KG-8 incident?
The card and the video. These two pieces of evidence are what will seal your fate.
Oh, very interesting. I must admit I'm very curious now. Very curious indeed in this case, the deciding piece of evidence you've presented.
The prey in the Yatagarasu has been chasing, all this time now stands before me. I can't allow this man, who has had free reign for 10 long years, to simply walk away. Now is the time for me to bring to fruition the valiant spirit that was given to me. March 15, 1:34 a.m. Theatrum Neutralis, lobby.
So what is this interesting thing you wanted to show me?
The trump card and the videotape. These two pieces of evidence together make for the ultimate hand. And this is where the real meaning behind Detective Bad's words will be realized. Detective Gumshoe.
Yes, sir.
What do you see here is security footage just before the KG-8 murder occurred. From this footage, we know that the card is a directives card from the smuggling ring. This is the section that proves that the card was used to relay an order. The knife that he's holding.
Take that!
Take a look at this area.
What about that area?
Take that!
Do I have to point to the card itself? I guess I have to point to the card itself.
Take that!
As you can see, Mr. Cochin is holding the card.
I see. The killer is indeed holding a card with the exact same design on it. But that card and the one you have, just because they look the same, doesn't mean that they are, does it now?
Ah, but there is a very easy way for me to prove that they are, in fact, one and the same. All you have to do is simply take a look at this. The blood. This dark red blood. Yes, this is your proof. Proof that the orders on this card were played out in that terrible tragedy. The blood belonged to the victim of the KG-8 incident. With a bit of DNA testing, we can very easily verify that as fact. If you have no objections, then I'd like for you to take a look at the next piece of footage. This car that passes by in front of the victim's apartment building. It's an official Kodopian government car.
Or what?
Detective Gumshoe, if you could please magnify the footage. The area of this footage directly links the smuggling ring of Kodopia.
Take that!
Oh, what is that there? No. The card in his pocket, I guess.
Take that!
The shape of the pocket, and the directive card in it. It tells us without a doubt this person in this car is Mr. Cochin.
Herc!
The license plate in the car was also captured by the security camera. And with it we can easily find out who was sitting in this car on that day 10 years ago. Which is why I can say with confidence that you were riding in this car on that day.
Herc! Ha! 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 You've done well, my boy, to make it this far.
What the?
However, about your claim that I was riding in this car at the time, that's going to be mighty difficult to prove.
How so?
The Principality of Kodopia no longer exists. So naturally, all records from that time period also no longer exist.
That arrogance. What he really means is he's already erased all traces of them.
Are we finished here, boy?
The only weapon I have left now to me now is this piece of footage. There must be something here that I can use against him. That metal, yeah, I was wondering what that was right there. I thought it was a Kodopia, but it's reflecting here. Yeah, this.
Take that!
What the? Yeah, it's the metal. Ambassador Alba,
Yes, what is it?
you were once an army man in the service of Kodopia. And it was you who made that many missions you participated in successes, correct?
Why the sudden backhanded praises, boy? Although to be sure, the brilliant medals on my breast were awarded to me during my era of Kodopia. But now I am the only one who owns this particular medal.
He just sealed his fate. He's the only one who owns this medal. In that case, The only person it could be who was sitting in this car is you.
How do you figure that?
By the medal captured here in this footage. It is clearly the same exact medal as the one on your chest.
What?
This is how it will be, but I won't hold back. For this is the path that I have chosen.
You've ruined me with your devotion to this case, Mr. Edgeworth.
Why is he taking such an arrogant stance with me?
It's almost looking possible, isn't it? For a lot of you to come this far. It looks like I just might lose our little game this time.
You might lose the game this time? You don't get another round, Mr. Ambassador.
Is that a fact? Very well. I've decided to confess and admit my guilt.
You're going to confess.
And I will accept whatever punishment that may come as a result.
What the?
Regarding the last 2 murders, I admit it. I did it out of self-defense.
You're claiming it was justified self-defense.
The last 2 attacked me, and I felt that my life was in danger. If I hadn't done what I did, I might be the one you found dead instead of him.
What a pathetic performance.
I'm not giving you one.
Wow, you truly know how to laugh at inappropriate times. If you wish to claim it was justified self-defense, then you will need some evidence.
It's always the evidence with you, isn't it? But if that's what you require, I'll provide it. That man left a mark on me when he attacked.
What?
I don't particularly want to show it off, but this is proof that it was in self-defense. I'm an old man, and sometimes I don't pay enough attention when I should.
But the masked 2 didn't have a single weapon on his body.
Hold on, something get worked up over because I hid the weapon.
You hid it.
I'm sorry, but as you know, a murder is a murder, even if it's self-defense.
No, it's not true. A self-defense is not a murder. It's a justified killing. That's what it's called.
And I couldn't let it become public, seeing as how I am the ambassador. This is the weapon you seek, my special bonsai trimming shears.
Oh, it's covered in blood.
He was in trembling quite badly during our struggle. But that's when he grabbed the shears that were sitting in my office and attacked. So you see, it was an act of self-defense.
Is he right, Mr. Edgeworth? Since he has both a wound and the weapon that caused it, it's enough to declare it so. Ambassador Alba claims it's proof he was stabbed by the masked 2, so justified defense. No way!
Which reminds me, I guess there is still one more accusation I need to resolve. Smuggling and counterfeiting. Unfortunately, all of that is my secretary's doing. I had no knowledge it was going on.
Stop spewing nonsense! You're trying to throw my investigation under the bus in your desperation. If you want to get real honest, everything in this case can be connected to you. The murder of the masked 2 was done in self-defense. In my trials, no man escapes this crime alive.
Perhaps so, if you were my opponent in court. However, there is one very important fact that I think you may have forgotten.
And what is that? We're not in court. That's what you mean. Extraterritoriality.
That's right. This embassy sits on what is effectively Alabastian soil. So any trial is to be held will be held in Alabast. Therefore, the crime I just admitted to will never be tried in your courts.
Agent Lang, what is Interpol's stance on this? Agent, investigate. That's our job. The judgment of people who have to confess to their crime. It's the court's job.
And I've already confessed to all of my crimes, Agent Lang. Furthermore, by the very nature of my position, I have full extraterritorial rights. These rights are effective even on your country's soil. Therefore, no matter what, where a crime may take place, I will never stand trial in one of your courts.
That arrogance in your expression. That's nothing like the face of someone who is ready to accept the consequences. Don't tell me you have your own country's judicial system eating right out of your hands.
These crimes you all speak of so seriously of, to me, this has all been nothing more than a game. You may chase me out of this embassy with your accusations. But it's no big deal. Alabas has numerous other embassies in other countries around the world. All you would accomplish is you would change the backdrop of our little game.
These 2 layers of protection, the extraterritoriality provides him. This is why he is one of those who cannot be brought to court.
You see now, don't you? I live in a whole different world than you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go and fetch your eviction papers.
Ah! Oh, Edgeworth said it too. Is there nothing we can do? Ah! Well, there's gotta be something. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, do drop a like. And I'll have the next part for you guys as soon as I can. But, yeah, the murder happened on Alabastian soil, but at the same time if we can prove that the Mask 2 was actually a citizen of America, then it's actually possible to extradite him to America. That's actually what could be done. But I guess we'll see on the next part. So he is the ringleader. But thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you did, drop a like. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.